To begin with, the newly appointed Northeast Regional Minister, Yadana Zakari, on Monday, March 15, assumed office as the second minister of the new region, promising to tackle armed robbery and improve education and health. The minister said, among other challenges in healthcare delivery, the region was one of the poorest staffed in the country, with only 10 medical doctors currently at post, as against the regional requirement of 84, serving nearly 60,000 residents. He also said educational performance of students over the years has become significantly poorer in comparison to other regions in the country. The minister described the situation as worrying and therefore called on the people of the region to rally behind him and offer their support. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko has more.
Nobody is coming to change our situation until we accept the reality of the fact that our destiny lies in our hands.
The regional minister has met his core staff in the region on his first day at post and laying bare his plans and ambitions.
So collectively, let's come together and work as a team. I don't believe that the current crop of young people schooling in the Northeast region are so stupid that they cannot make the way to the medical school. There's a systemic problem that we all need to come together to address. This is just but a gist into the issue. Let's come to the area of education. We have 12 secondary schools in the Northeast region. 4 of them are in their nascent stages. 8 are those that present students for the WASI. The last time we presented students, about 4,999. The story is that only 377 of them passed with C6 to A1 and qualified to go to the next level, representing 9.7%. The rest of the majority, where are they going? But the youth are our future. Can't we do something about this? Can we blame Ghana for what is happening in Northeast? Let's lace our boots and take that challenge. I believe when we work as a team, we will succeed. Let's look at security. I know your problems. He has briefed me. I have the handover notes. I know the situation. What I'm saying here is that I do not have the magic wand to think that I can solve the problems alone. But I believe the solution lies in all of us. So please, I need your support. I need your support.
The occasion held in the regional capital was attended and graced by heads of several governments, departments and agencies, traditional and community leaders, party supporters and well-wishers. After the official handing over was done at the Regional Coordinating Council, the new minister was quickly accompanied to the Nairi to pay a courtesy call as well as brief the overlord and president of the Regional House of Chiefs, Nabwagu. At the Nairi, the immediate past minister Solomon Bua addressed the king and his elders.
My heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to our grandpa, the overlord of the Mampuku traditional area, for the way he anchored me as a regional minister for the past 20 months that I found myself handling that position. We are here this afternoon to officially present his son, some of us our younger brother, others our elder brother, Honorable Yadana Zakari, who has been sworn in as the substantive Northeast Regional Minister, inshallah, for the next 4 years.
The new minister, Yadana Zakari, until his appointment, also served as a secretary to the king and was said to have played several roles in the campaign for the new region. He pleaded for the king's support to run the region. The overlord, Nabaga, congratulated the minister and assured him of his total support. His senior-most elder, Mbatarana, spoke to JoyNews.
The minister has indicated that he's prepared to work for the improvement and development of the Northeast region. To the extent that even if he falters, the Nairi should not hesitate to ask for his removal. The Nairi is very happy to hear that, because he's been involved from the onset with the creation of the Northeast region. And the Nigeria is also has observed some issues within the region which is asking that they should concentrate on. One of them is the minors who are riding the motorbikes all around, and then whatever they call yellow and all those things, because it is going to be to distract them from the education. So he's asking the security officers to make sure that they get those children off the tricycles.
Ilyasu Tanko reporting for Joy News.
Now, hundreds of people have massed up at Apam to bid farewell to the teenagers who drowned at the Apam beach a week ago. Joy News' Richard Kojonyako joins us live with more. Richard, what can you report?
Well, Daniel, so we are at the funeral grounds, and I might say that it is a restricted area. A lot of people have not been allowed, and so they are angry at the gates. Currently, 3 ministers just walked in, and so the program has just commenced. We have 11 bodies here. We're told that 1 out of the 13 was buried. 1 out of the 13 was buried the very day they found him, and then the other, the parents are here to identify that particular body. And so we have currently we have the caskets with the pictures of the children placed just in front of the casket. So 11 of them we do have here at the funeral service here. So it's a restricted area, and the community folk are not really happy about what is happening, because they wanted to also get access to the funeral grounds to also say their farewell or to bid goodbye to these 13 teenagers here at Apam.
Do we know which ministers have arrived and why the burial is being a private matter? Is it because of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, Daniel, that is true. It is because of the COVID protocols they have put in place. They do not want a lot of people to be at the funeral grounds. A lot of so the funeral service has begun. What I can tell you is that the funeral service is about commencing.
Richard, I would have to step in at this point because the voice on loudspeaker is making it a bit difficult to hear you. So if you can reposition yourself away from the loudspeaker, we can have a meaningful conversation here on the program. You're live on News Desk. That was Richard Kojonyako coming to us live from Apam in the Central Region, where that gruesome incident took place last week. 13 young people lost their lives by drowning. And we know that particular incident has triggered a series of actions. First of all, we had some traditional rites take place in Apam. We also have, as you are seeing today, the funeral ceremony take place for 11 of those children. Of course, questions have been raised as to what the children were doing on a beach in the first place when there is a strict ban on all such activities because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And because of these same protocols, these persons you are seeing currently outside the perimeter of the premises of the funeral ceremony are not allowed to go inside. As Richard was telling us earlier, they are not happy, they are not enthused by this new rule. As you can imagine, the death of these 13 young people has shaken the entire town to its core. Of course, only 11 of the children who have passed are being buried today, because one was already buried. The other has not been identified by his parents yet. And these are a group of boys, I believe, sympathizers of the family who are also singing and passing by. You're live on Joy News Desk. Richard will give us more details of this particular incident a bit later in the program as well. We will take you to Parliament, where today the debate on the 2021 budget begins officially. Of course, it's important that we cover this because Parliament is just returning from that retreat in Ho, where they had the opportunity to review all the various elements of the budget, especially according to their newly formed committees. And now they are in a better position to deliberate on the matters having to do with the budget. We'll take you there a bit later, but in the meantime, drivers as the Techiman main lorry station are appealing to government to reintroduce the suspended income tax and work on reducing fuel prices at the pumps. According to them, the move by government would worsen their plight as lorry fares remain the same. My colleague Anna Sabit has been engaging some of the drivers and filed the following report. Bringing more of this story, especially when we are dealing with the 2021 budget, but we've re-established that connection with Richard Kojo Nyako, and we would wrap up that conversation with him. So, Richard, earlier you were describing the scene, telling us some more details about the funeral, but unfortunately, we lost you there. Can you go over that?
Well, so that's what's happening here. The funeral service is being held at the Accident and Emergency Center at the St. Luke Catholic Hospital here at Apam. What they have done is that they've lined up the bodies. 11 of them we are seeing now. They tell us that the latest one they found, the 13th one, was buried on the same day upon the instructions of the medical director. And one more body is yet to be identified. And so that body is still in the morgue. Three ministers of state have arrived and the funeral service has begun. But what is happening here is that the community folk are not really happy because they closed the doors to them. They say that they wanted to also go and bid farewell, some goodbye sort of to these 13 people that have been prevented. The authorities tell us that it's as a result of the that is why there some restrictions on the service that is being done. So right after the funeral service, we'll proceed to go and bury already. The 13 days are ready, and so they will proceed to do that. But what I can tell you about COVID-19 protocol is that even outside, it is even terrible because if they had been allowed inside, it would have been good. Because it would have helped them the opportunity using monitoring to ensure that the COVID are being addressed. But some chanting songs, possessing, drumming, dancing, and what have you. And so this is what we have now.
Richard, who are these ministers who are present?
Well, so the new Central Regional Minister, Justina here, the Transport Minister, the Siama, and then the Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, these are the three ministers that are representing government here. So it's a government delegation, as well as other people, other government, key government functionaries. They are also here. They are coming to support the family to say goodbye to this.
Have they said anything, these ministers?
Well, the service just began, and so they walked in about 10 minutes ago. Nothing has been heard from them, but they are in some kind of sober mood. We're waiting for the service to begin, and we will hear whatever they say.
Now, earlier in some of the reports you sent us, the residents of Apam were a bit unhappy that they were yet to hear from any government official after this unfortunate incident. What's their reaction to the presence of these three?
Come again?
I was saying that how have the people reacted to the presence of these ministers, especially considering how they were angry at government a few days ago?
Where I am now is very noisy, so I can hardly hear you. I'm trying to move away from the noise.
Right.
Can you repeat it?
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, but it's a bit faint.
Okay. I was asking about how the people took the minister's arrival. Unfortunately, we've lost Richard Kojo Nyako there. We'll move on and bring him back if we have the opportunity. You're live on Joy News Desk. You're live on JoyNews Desk. Let's take you back to the Techiman main lorry station, where drivers are appealing to governments to reintroduce the suspended income tax and work on reducing fuel prices at the pumps.
Through the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Osei Chairman Sabonso, on Friday presented the 2021 budget statement in Parliament. This morning we are here in Techiman at the main station to speak with drivers to have their take on what the budget statement says. Though they are happy with the suspension of the income tax, they are unhappy with the introduction of new taxes in other sectors.
In fact, we drivers vote massively for the Nana Akufo-Addo. He promised us that when he comes to power, he will reduce taxes for we the drivers. Our allowances, income tax, insurance, all these promises have not been fulfilled. Now that he's not saying the income tax has been taken off, then he has now bringing a new taxes for us. Like this levy, is it called the refuse tax or something like that? In fact, you can't increase taxes while you are telling us not increase our fares. It's not fair.
I understand they are doing away with the income tax, but I think it will not help us. We charge 14 Ghana cedis to Kintampo, and with increment, we will charge 15 Ghana cedis. With that, I'll make a profit of 8 cedis per trip. So the suspension of the income tax is of no use to us.
The best is income tax, all money now you pay income tax 3 months.
We wish to continue paying the income tax so that the government will do away with the increase in fuel prices.
Income tax everyone, fuel and tumuno or tifrima, a beboy.
For these drivers here, the increase in fuel prices at the pumps every now and then is something they are very worried about. They therefore call on government to reduce fuel prices in order to ease the hardships they are going through currently.
The automatic adjustment. They
are appealing to government to control the increase in fuel prices on a daily basis, because as it stands, we are running at loss as drivers.
At the end of the day, no better this guy in Akotofu. Filling stations.
My brother, that is what I'm saying. The government should do something. Look at the increase of fuel. Every day we go to the filling station, they're having increases. And they are just telling us not to increase our fares. But you can even see it for yourself. It's not fair. So we are just playing with the government to do something about all these things.
Whilst almost all of them are unhappy with the suspension of the income tax, one of them tells me it is the best policy the government has introduced so far. Is however calling on governments to also work on reducing fuel prices at the pumps.
Honestly, before God and man, I think in the history of Ghana, this is the first time such a thing is happening. Most of the times, the taxes that is taken from the citizens of Ghanaians, you don't even see the use of it. So if the government have gone to the extreme of taking a little bit of it from we the citizens, especially we the drivers, I think it's a positive step that he has made. But my problem is, day in, day out, there's sort of increment in the fuel charges. And I don't know whether it's going to take a longer time for us to increase our fares. Then that is going to be a very big blow to we the drivers. But if it's going to be within a short possible time, then he will come out with the new fares. And I think that one is going to be of a better use for us, the drivers too.
From the Techiman main station, for JoyNews, my name is Anas Sabit, reporting.
Let's take you to the western region town of Disco, where some chiefs, you're live on JoyNews, pardon me for that. We'll bring you that story very shortly. Now, some chiefs, we understand, have been attacked by some youth groups. We're joined by a local reporter, Emmanuel Yankee, for more on this development. Emmanuel, tell us about the Disco incident.
Okay, Danny, good morning. Yesterday, around 11 o'clock a.m., that we heard about an incident from Disco, which is between the lower and upper Disco traditional area. When you go to the scene around in the afternoon, when you go to the scene, we went to some of the the local chiefs that were there were an eyewitness to the scene. They told us that in the morning that they saw the upper, some members or some leaders from the upper Disco Traditional Council went to one of the areas which about years ago, it was some mayhem and some chaos in that vicinity. About 2 years ago, we all heard what transpired at Disco area. And what they told us was that some of the leaders from Upper Disco Traditional Council went to that part of Disco community, which that brought a lot of havoc into the community. They went there to do some, to have some land for other NGO groups and everything. So the youth group at the Lower Disco Traditional area saw in that it was not needful. So they went there and attacked those people. And those people that were attacked were the Upper Disco Traditional Council of Employment mother, that is the parents of the tradition, and also some leaders, some sub-chiefs of the Upper Disco leader, that is a paramount chief of Employment, the 14th parent and some sub-chiefs of it. So they attacked, they did attack these people about that is the parent and the father and the one of the chiefs, Nana Edi Akara, that were being told. So we went there and they told us that these people were attacked. They removed all the sets from all the dressing from the sub-chief, that is Nana Edi Akara, and the way down from the T junction to that is the Lower Disco. So that is what we are being told at Disco yesterday. So
Emmanuel, in a nutshell, youth from Lower Disco have attacked the elders of the Upper Disco Traditional Council, including the parents of the chief of Upper Disco Traditional Area, Obrimpo Himadechi, the 14th.
Yes, Daniel.
Okay. Has Obrimpo spoken? Has any of the elders spoken about this matter?
For now, I went there this morning, and what they told us that they are waiting for Obrimpo to come and speak to the youth so that they also know what to do. Okay. For now, I tried calling Obrimpo, but he has not been able to pick my call. So we are waiting for Obrimpo to come on this matter.
What of Nana Kwesi Agyemang, the chief of Lower Disco?
Actually, when we went there yesterday, we met his absence yesterday at the palace.
Okay, Emmanuel, keep following the story. We'll come back later. On phone with us is the Western Region Police PRO, DSP Olivia Irabna Ediku, who has more. DSP, good morning. Welcome to News Desk. Can you confirm for us that this incident happened as it did? Young people attacked traditional leaders and elders of Upper Disco. Right, DSP Olivia Ediku, can you hear me?
Hello.
Great. Can you confirm for us, ma'am, that young people from Lower Disco actually attacked a group of elders from Upper Disco? Is this the case?
Yes. Yesterday morning, around 10:56 a.m., our police in Abunan Kwanta had information that some elders, some chiefs, a queen mother, and some elders from the Upper Disco have been attacked in the town courtroom, and that they were rescued to the palace of Nana Kwesi Agyemang. So police moved in and they met Nana Diekukra, who is a sub-chief, Nana the Chimanza, queen mother of Krum, the mother of Obrimpo Himadechi, Charlotte Yeboah, Jonah Edu, and Sadiq Sojabu. They had various degrees of injuries, and yesterday police sent them to hospital. As I speak to you, they are still in the hospital being attended to.
Okay. You say that these youth tried to rescue Nana Kwesi Agyemang's palace. Right. DSP Olivia Ediku seems to have, we seem to have lost her there on the line. We will reestablish the connection with her, and we would definitely establish all the facts of the incidents. Now, if you were listening carefully to Emmanuel, this is not the first time that we've had such a dispute between the upper and lower disco traditional areas. Indeed, the most recent time, there was a manhunt for the chief of Upper Disco, Brimpong Himadechi, the 14th. We will get the details of that from DSP Olivia Etiku, who has joined us now. I was asking, ma'am, if indeed these young people who attacked the chiefs and the elders were doing so to rescue a palace.
No. What happened was that the call was from Nana Kwesi Agyeman to the police that he had learned some youth from his side, lower district, had attacked some elders from upper district, and that some of his people have rescued them to his palace. So he's informing police. So police went to the palace, and they met these 6 people who had been assaulted, and they sent them to hospital.
So is that to suggest then that Nana Kwesi Agyeman himself is not regarded as a suspect in this?
I cannot tell. The case was just, the incident happened just yesterday. And I understand from the police in Agyeman, Agyeman himself was not in town. Brimpong was also not in town. But I believe that if investigation is ongoing, there's a need to invite any of them to be there.
But have the boys been caught so far, the perpetrators of this act?
So far, no arrests have been made. The victims who were sent to hospital have not been able to give police a statement as to exactly what happened. They will be able to give us statements, tell us, or maybe give some names of those who assaulted them, so that those people can be arrested. And now, after investigation, if they are found culpable, then they face the law. But as at now, we've not been able to make any arrests because we've not been able to talk to the victims who were assaulted yesterday. And the district commander informed me that yesterday he spoke with them and they are still not working to speak with police. So we are hoping that today we'll be able to get some information from them so that it will help us to know exactly what happened yesterday.
But is the condition of those victims critical?
For now, they are all stable.
But they are unable to communicate yet?
Oh, they are communicating, but I don't know. They said they are not okay to talk to police as at yesterday. So we are hoping because yesterday, I'm sure through the assault, some were in pain and other things. That is why they have not been able to talk to police. So we are hoping that today they will be able to give us some information.
Thank you so much.
Get to arrested. And also yesterday, we talked to both the youth from upper and lower district to exercise restraint and allow police to do the investigation. And we are still patrolling the area to ensure that there is peace between upper and lower district area.
Thank you very much, DSP Olivia Irabna Adiku. She is the Public Relations Officer for the police in the Western region. Let's come back to Accra. And residents of La and adjoining communities are lamenting the delay in the reconstruction of the La General Hospital, which was demolished in March last year. At an estimated cost of 68 million euros, the project was to be completed in 24 months. But 12 months since the hospital was pulled down, work is yet to begin on the site. Residents say the delay in the project is causing needless deaths as they're struggling to access health care.
I'm happy to be here in Labadi this afternoon to cut the sword for the commencement of work for the redevelopment of the La General Hospital. Let me at the outset thank the hard work.
President Akufo-Addo speaking at a ceremony on August 10, 2020, to cut sword for the reconstruction of the La General Hospital. This was after the old 5-story facility was torn down in March same year for, among other things, lacking structural integrity. The new building was to be completed in 24 months. A year on, the land has been overtaken by weeds with no contractor on site. The facility, which was formerly known as the La Polyclinic, had for years served communities in and around La, Osu, Teshi and Nungwa. Since it was pulled down, residents here have grappled with the reality of traveling to other facilities to access healthcare. Sarah Okutu has lived in La all her life.
Before they were going to demolish it, they came to call those around this community. They asked us whether when they demolish it, it will be okay for us because we want a new hospital. So we agreed. But now they came to demolish the thing. And they even said they are coming to start. Up to now, no foundation, nothing. They even put up a signboard that the president said, people are saying, thank you, Mr. President, for rehabilitation at our hospital. But still up to now, no foundation.
Just a few meters from the site, there's a raging conversation about the delay of the project. These are pensioners who used to frequent the facility.
The impact is great because now, if we are sick, you go here, just walking distance, you go to the polyclinic. Now either you have to take her to go to Kolebu, police hospital, 37, or private hospital, or Lekma. And that one, you have to pay transport. You pick her. If it's serious, you pick dropping. Your money will go. That's the most serious impact on our lives over here.
There's a lady here. Baba, nika ebiene pete ni arashle no. She because of nas akalaya to come traffic ni your mommy. Pi. Kanye pi bi ana abugbe. Negbo. Nika biene no na wole keje chune se na kelete polyclinic. If I survive,
they swear the Bible. What is the reason of swearing the Bible? Then they lie. They lie. Me all the time telling God that God is merciful. God is a merciful God. Other than that, one day, all of us will go and you created a different generation.
Do you think government lied to you?
Eh?
You think government lied to you?
Lied to you. And the hospital is there. They haven't built it. Why is it that you know that you are not coming to do it at a very elite stage? Why should you break them down? Last one of my friends here, before they rushed them down, she died.
In the interim, most residents who cannot afford to travel to other facilities depend on the La Polyclinic. The problem, however, is that the polyclinic is severely constrained.
Have some form of limited resources to provide for the community. Here we don't have an X-ray machine, not because we didn't have, but we didn't have space to relocate the machine here. We don't have theater here. All the specialties like pediatrics, internal medicine, surgery, and what's the name? Obs and gynae. We don't have all the specialties here. Our bed complement is just about 4 here, as compared to the 167 bed capacity that we had at the old site. We don't even have an emergency ward here, so we can't detain cases over 24 hours. You see, we are now preparing for an emergency.
The impact of the situation goes beyond just the cost in transportation to other facilities. 66-year-old Ivy Bedema lives about 150 meters away from the old hospital. She lost her sister Henrietta Bedema in January 2021 through a medical emergency. She believes her sister would probably still be alive if they got a bed in a hospital.
Because just last 2 months, my sister died because she have a heart problem and she's diabetic. So when we went to police hospital, they said there's no bed. So she has to be going every day to take her drips. Last minute when we went, she took the drip, and when she came in the midnight around 2 o'clock, something happened when we took her to police hospital. By the time we rushed her there, she's gone. They're supposed to admit her so that we know what is wrong with the heart, because she was complaining about heart pain. But there's no bed, so there's nothing they can do about it than to take care of her, treat her, and then come back home. So in the midnight, it started again. That's where we realized that something is wrong. They rushed her to the hospital. It's too late. The doctor said she's dead. Supposing the polyclinic is there, they will rush her or they will leave her there till she recovers. But there's no polyclinic, there's no La General Hospital again. So that's our problem. The government should do something about it.
Beyond the impact on healthcare delivery, the demolishing of the hospital took away with it the livelihood of vendors who depended on the hospital staff, patients, and their visitors to sell their wares.
Oh, I mean, I make papa container store selling. I make papa. We can be a tade. Can you get a bit of papa and be your junction? Come each and work party check. Oh, maybe a papa. Oh, when I contact, make a few job by and Salvano and I be them. Laguna Cadane for. Oh,
What an estimated cost of 68 million euros, the project was to span a period of 24 months. 12 months into the project, this plan is yet to be translated from the artist's drawing board onto the ground. While government continues to give assurances of its workings to bring the project to fruition, the community, and by extension, the residents within the area, are those who bear the brunt of a lack of proper health care. From here in South La, in Accra, my name is Manuel Cranting, reporting for Joy News.
You're live on Joy News Desk with me, Daniel Dazina. Residents of Canville and adjoining communities say they fear that they may be going back to the days of guinea worm infestation if the issues of lack of potable water are not addressed. Canville, Tunaili, Baumo, Naptina, Satingli and Gbanyamini communities in the northern region have been battling with water crisis for some months now, forcing them to rely on a polluted dam for drinking. Martina Vugri has more.
It is that time of the year when most water sources in the northern region like dams, wells, dugouts among others, which serve several communities, dry up. The prayer of most residents normally is the rain should set in and save them from the hassle. Today we visit some communities in the Canville electoral area which have been hit by water crisis. Fatih Mohammed said drinking water from the dam is a worry because there's a forest close by where people defecate.
Yensu so yekɔ dwuma yebetima atena ka nsuo yekɔ pensuo saa na ade wo ba be sa we at times na wakɔ bibi fufuru asan akɔ pensuo aba benno de ebennum keke se be hai ye problem no nti mpacho nsuo we de me hai say de yenum na hai papa because forest bensa we nsuo we nti ohona ye obia kwaniwo nti so to anane nyina sa be taha.
Another resident, Florence Bewele, said she is forced to recycle water in the midst of COVID-19 by bathing in a basin so that she can gather water to flush her WC.
Now we are buying tanker. Yes, we are buying tanker and the tanker comes once a month. Even the once a month that we buy that water is because we have to manage. We are recycling water. We are recycling. When I bath, for instance, I bath in a basin because I wouldn't like to bath and waste the water. So I bath in the basin and then use that very basin water to flush the WC. My kids, for instance, I've even discouraged them from bathing in the using the WC because it wouldn't, for kids can't manage like an adult managing. So they have to rather come out, dig a hole and eat themselves and close it. So actually it's unbearable. Now we are in COVID era. We are supposed to be washing our hands regularly. If there's no water, in a day, if you have to put a bucket under the tank, we will take like 3-4 buckets because you have to.
Kodima Fusena said for the past 2 years, she has not had water run through her pipes, and searching for water each day gets her into trouble because she's always late for work.
There's one particular problem we have been facing here, and we don't know whether we are not part of Tamale or we want them to tell us. And the problem we are facing here is about our water issue. The water, I think, since last 2 years, December, water just came once through our tap, and that time it was even midnight when the water flowed. And up to now, during the rainy season, we were even having hope that rainy season, the way it's raining, we'll get water. And even that's even the time we're even now tired. Always water is not flowing. Throughout the rainy season, we didn't get water. Up to now, not even a drop from our type. You have children, you will get up. You have to bath the children before you go to work. And because of this water issue, I've been having problem with my boss. Always, I'm the last person to go to work. Am I the only one having problems?
The assemblyman for the area, Abdulrahman Samuel, said even though the assembly has tried to intervene, there are some challenges. He said what they have now are 2 wells the MP for the area has dug.
Currently, it is only Kamvli that gets frequent water supply. The remaining 5, that is Tunayile, Satangle, Naptina, Banyamni, and Komu, do not get water. Part of Satangle gets once in a while, part of Tunayile gets once in a while. But for Naptina, for Banyamni, and for Komu, and then majority of Tunayile, for the past 6 months, we've not had water flowing in our taps. We have to buy water daily, or we have to go to the next community, which is Kamvli. We have to go to the dam, which is nearly dried up. Currently, we have 2 wells, one that was commissioned yesterday by our honorable MP in Banyamni, that is supporting the community with water, and then one also in the Kamvli Tunayile.
Thanks for staying with us. This is News Desk. Remember, we are monitoring the situation in Parliament, and we will take you there when the debate on the 2021 budget begins. Coming up in business, though, the price of bread is up in Kumasi. We'll get reactions from consumers.
Everybody can afford their 6 cedis.
Most of us, we don't have money in our pocket to support our family. And even increasing the bread too, it will cost us a lot.
We take a bite after the break.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. Bakers in the Kumasi metropolis say they have temporarily reduced the quantity of bread supply to test the market demand as they start implementing new prices for the staple. The producers announced the new prices effective Monday, March 15, citing rising cost of raw materials. They expect the consumers to accept the new price. Pensapia has more in the following report.
A 5 cedi loaf of bread now sells at 6 cedis. According to the bakers, the price adjustment is necessitated by the rising cost of flour, sugar and other raw materials for bread. Teresa Boachibwedu is a member of the Bakers Association.
We are still maintaining the 6 cedis, which means we are still maintaining the 1 cedi difference. You will still maintain the quality. As for quality, you can never abuse it. That is why we are increasing our price by the 1 cedi.
But retailers of bread want a fair share of the 1 cedi increment. They also maintain the quality of the bread should not be underestimated. The retailers are worried. Their concern is that they used to buy from their suppliers at 4 Ghana cedis and sell at 5 cedis. Currently, they cannot buy at 5 cedis from their suppliers and sell at 6 cedis because the polythene in which they package the bread for the consumer has now increased from 5 cedis, 50 pesos to 6 cedis, affecting their operational cost.
We, the retailers, sustain the bread business, so they should create a reduction so we can earn some profit. We plead they sell it at 4 cedis 50 pesos because we also make some expenses. Sales is very low on the streets because people refuse to buy when the prices increase. Commodities appreciate in price every time. However, they should increase the quality so that the customers will value the bread to its cost.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive of Uncle Ben's Bakery, Willis Wehe, says the concerns of the retailers will be addressed.
This is the concern that these women are bringing out. As an association, we would look at it because before the end of the year, we're still going to have more increase in price. But all this, we're not going to say we are going to increase bread immediately. Now, it took more than 6 to 7 to 8 years before this increment has come. Now, this one cedi leap will take us for years. Now, the only thing we have to do is we have to speak to the women and let them understand our own part. If anything positive, then either one side will have to budge out, but on that we are going to speak to them.
But are consumers satisfied with the increase in bread prices?
5 cedis to 6 cedis, I think is not a good idea. 5 cedis is okay. Not everybody can afford the 6 cedis.
Most of us, we don't have money in our pocket to support our family. And even increasing the bread too, it will cost us a lot.
It means those who are below the minimum income wage wouldn't be able to afford with the price and all that. So I think it's very sad.
Increasing it will still bring stress and a whole burden onto the whole society.
Prince Apia reporting.
Now, the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders has charged the Transport Ministry to be strict on operations at the port with regards to shipping lines. The call comes after a series of engagement between the Institute and the Ghana Shippers Authority halted a proposed increment in charges at the port. Edward Akrong is president of the Institute.
The Minister on that and several other issues which we think are long-standing have to be the Minister of Transport. And so it's not just those charges, but then also a whole lot of other issues that we thought were, long-standing had to be resolved. And so we did that. The minister, was very magnanimous, called us to the table and reminded the shipping lines of the duty. Subsequently, we have seen a letter that he wrote, through the Ghana Shippers Authority, that any increment that they intended to do, they were supposed to go and sit with the Ghana Shippers Authority and negotiate that stand. We are very much happy about that, but within, sit on our oars, because we believe this has happened severally and nothing had been done. So subsequently, we wrote to the shipping lines due to the notices that they had placed, in the newspapers and sent to us also, because most of these had timelines which were due. So we had to write to them to remind them of the obligation, and what the minister's directive was that they had to go and sit with the shipping, the Ghana Shippers Authority. So we are now looking out to see if, they do this, or they go ahead to do the increases as they, purported. Now, if that happens, then we might have to take some action.
And that's your business update for now. Sports is up next.